First, I want to start off by thanking our beautiful choir for leading us in tonight's service. Such a gem, such a hidden gem St. Leo is. I'm so excited to be a part of this community, and I know the future is bright, so this is such an honor to begin Holy Week with all of you. Also want to thank Larry and Karen for their preparations, and Cherie and Belinda for helping us prepare for such a beautiful night. St. Francis of Assisi is known for saying lots of things, but one of the things that he's known for saying is that all the darkness in the world cannot extinguish the light of a single candle. So it's a very profound and poetic way to think about the power of light. And we really play on this theme of light here at Tenebrae, but really for all of Holy Week. There's a lot of candles and the theme of light and darkness that happens. And, you know, as I consider this theme, I was also sitting right here in my chair watching the air condition blow on the 3 candles on the right here, and they were struggle busting. Did anyone else get distracted by that? I was distracted the whole time, just praying for those candles that they wouldn't be extinguished, because the ones on the left right here are nice and strong. They were doing just fine. But the ones on the right were really having a time. They were really facing some trials, and they were very resilient because they never actually went out until Larry, our great altar server, went up and extinguished them at the right time. But through the hard times, they were very resilient. And I thought, man, that is really even more symbolic of our experience. You see, we have the Paschal candle right here in the front, and that is a symbol of Jesus. The Paschal candle all year long is a symbol of Jesus. We bless the Paschal candle at the Easter Vigil every year. We relight it at baptism and funerals. And you see, we took from this candle, we lit the candles on the altar as a symbol that our light comes from Jesus. That every bit of praiseworthy piece about who we are, our dignity, our merit, our good deeds, our faith, everything, our virtue, it all comes from Jesus. Our light comes from Jesus. There's no light without him. And you see, as we wrestle and struggle through the trials of life, we kind of have different experiences like these candles. Sometimes where things are going pretty good, like these candles on the left. Going pretty good. Life's pretty good. Our candles, we feel pretty strong. We're not that tested. We call this spiritual consolation. We feel close to Jesus. Our light is shining, and things are going pretty good. But then sometimes we go through what's called spiritual desolation, like the candles on the right, and we struggle. And life gets tough, and sometimes we have an explanation, and sometimes we simply just don't, but we're struggling. We're being pushed and shoved by the wind in all kinds of directions. And sometimes our light goes out. Sometimes our light is extinguished due to a number of reasons. Usually it's our sin. Sometimes we feel like our light goes out just by what we're facing in our circumstances. And so, a disciple understands that their light is always coming from Jesus. Because no matter how much darkness there is in the world, and no matter how many trials we face, and even if all of our lights go out, Jesus' doesn't. God's light remains. God's light seemed to have gone out on Good Friday, but it was only temporary. And we know, because of the Easter story, that God brings a resurrection after his crucifixion and death. And his light remains forever. And so even when we face trials, and even when we sin, and even when life seems as dark as it gets, a disciple knows that his light comes from Jesus. And so I want to invite you to consider, as we are beginning Holy Week, or scratch that, we already began Holy Week. As we begin the Triduum, I want you to consider what's robbing your light. What's robbing you of your light? What is extinguishing the candle of your soul? What is robbing the light in your world? What is preventing you from seeing the light of Jesus? Maybe there's a certain sin in your life that you just can't shake. Or maybe there's just a person in your life that you just can't forgive. Or maybe there is a circumstance in your life that you just can't get past. But whatever it is, my invitation to you is that this week we would bring that to the altar, particularly for the Sacred Triduum, that we would really enter into these next 3 days, Holy Thursday, Good Friday, Holy Saturday, that we would really give whatever that is that's robbing us of that light, that we would bring that to Jesus and let him claim light over darkness in our life, that he would relight the candle of our soul, that we would boldly proclaim that we are no longer slaves to the darkness, but that we believe and profess that all of the darkness in the world cannot extinguish the light of Christ. And a disciple gets his light from Christ. A disciple remains close to the light of Christ and is set free of whatever holds us back and whatever robs us of our light. So as we continue with this service, the way it's going to end, we're going to have a few more pieces of prayer and of music. And slowly, we're going to extinguish all the candles and all the lights except for the Easter candle. And then we will process out in silence and in darkness. So I just say that to prepare you. I usually love to give some final words and visit after Mass. But in the spirit of prayer, in the spirit of the Easter Triduum, we're going to end in darkness just for a temporary time, knowing that the light of Jesus and his resurrection is soon to come. And so may these next couple days be a retreat for you, a time for you to rediscover the light of Christ. Amen.